COD, collect on delivery, which means that it came, he went to the post office, picked it up, paid for it, and got it. You could order stuff. Rifles, can you believe that? He ordered this rifle out of this Klein's Sporting Goods magazine. He ordered that on March 12th, 1963. How do they know that? The order form. Okay, he ordered on March 12th, 1963, out of the magazine American Rifleman. Who do you order it from? What group? Who do you order it from according to the form? Who do you buy it from? Klein's Sporting Goods. He paid $19.95 for the rifle, including the scope. He ordered on which date? March 12, 1963. It was shipped on March 20th. 8 days later, it was shipped from Klein's Sporting Goods. And it was sent to Oswald's post office box with a balance of $19.95 owed. You got that? You guys want to see my new guitar? You want to see my new guitar? It's a nice one. No, I'm not being arrogant, but this is a bit of a treat. This is pretty much the exact rifle that Oswald ordered for $19.95 with the scope. The only thing I'm missing that he had on his rifle was a sling that was right here. This gun, obviously I have no shells for this gun. This gun is a simple bolt action gun. I have the shells, I'll show you what they look like, and the shells are in a clip. And instead of, you know how you put your clip underneath guns now, this was pushed down this way. Okay? And this is just a simple. Want to look at it? Don't be afraid of it, it won't hurt you. Those are very rare to find. This is what the shells look like. This is what Oswald, don't point at anybody. This is what Oswald put in the gun, and this is what the bullets look like. These are original to the gun. You can buy ammunition now, very difficult to get. How about if we stick it maybe up like this? There we go. We're going to shoot a hole, shoot through the throat, right? But this is what they look like, and you can see the size of the bullets pushed down. Okay, I have not shot these because they're worth some money. I did shoot 3 so I could get the original shell casings from the era. So these are like what the shell casings that were found in the 6th floor. Okay, and this is the gun that was used with Bobby Bryant and Sean Mortimer and Blake Kroger to do the damage that you saw there that we had talked about. So this is what it looks like. Now, I'll pass these around, but please do not get them close to the gun. I'd like to keep my job for the rest of the day. Okay? I did get permission from the administration, Mr. Smith, to bring this in the guitar case late last night. But anyway, that is it. That's what he ordered for $19.95. Now, I have no more shells other than the original shells. So I haven't been able to take it out and shoot it, but that'd be kind of fun to do in the spring if we could get some more shells, would it not? You'd be awesome. That's where you'd be. Yes? This is a great story. So I've been looking for one of these forever. So I walk into Big Bear Sports and Billings. Anybody been there? Big Bear stores? And I go to used guns all the time, and I look at this gun, and I look at it again, and I thought, holy, you know what? And I looked at that, and it had a tag on it, and it said in red, 19999. Well, I'll just write it down here because I want to get the emphasis. It had a tag on it, kind of like this, with a hole in it. It said 19995. No, 199995. How much do you think that would be? About 2. That's what I was saying. So I get to this guy, and he said, "Oh, you know, these oversells. Can I help you?" I said, "I'm kind of interested in this gun." I mean, I wasn't kind of interested in this gun. I was really interested. I'm kind of interested. What is this deal? Well, I think that's an old Italian army rifle. I says, really? I says, what do you want for that? He says, no, wait. He says, $49.99. And I said, $49.95? He goes, yeah, well, it comes with 3 clips. And I said, $49.95. He goes, yep, but it comes with 3 clips. Okay.
There you go.
So, I bought it. Scope and all. Now, here's another story. A friend of mine by the name of Russ Blix, who lives in Montana, is a big gun guy. He called me about 4 months ago, and he says, I was just in this pawn shop in Powell, and they have a 6.5 Mannlicher Carcano. I said, oh, get out of here. He said, I'm not kidding. He said, doesn't have a scope. And he says, the guy wants like $250 for it. I says, no way. And he goes, yeah. So I call this guy on the phone, and he says, yeah, I got this gun. And I said, well, I told him, give him the teacher routine. I'm the teacher, I teach this class, and it's similar to the one that Oswald used. Well, I appreciate teachers. I'll tell you what, he says, I'll sell it to you for $100 if you want to come down and get it. I couldn't get to Powell fast enough. Now, this is a 7.35, 1939 Italian Carcano 7.35. It's just a difference in shell. Oswald had the 6.5, which is just a difference in shell. This one I got, and I didn't bring it because it didn't have a scope on it. It's the same gun. It's a 6.5. It's exactly the same. So there it is. That's what Oswald used. Now I want to show you something. You guys, how many people are rifle shooters? Very many? When you shoot your rifle, a new rifle, how long does it take for the firing pin to get to the, get to its point? I mean, you can't tell it so fast, right? Look at this. Look at the slow. Look how slow this is. How long it takes that to go up and engage a shell. I mean, that's really pretty slow when you think about, you couldn't, in a real gun, you couldn't even tell that. But you can definitely tell, can you tell the hesitation? That's how slow it is. This is not a fancy gun, but it's very accurate from 100 yards in. So anyway, that was the treat for the day. Here it is. Try not to tell everybody we were playing with guns in class today, but that's what we were doing. And if I get some shells, I'll see who might be interested in going out.
We could do Mythbusters and make one of those like gelatin heads that actually explode out.
You could do what?
Testing their guns or whatever, they have like, they make like the gelatin heads or whatever. Practice shooting. We should make one of those so when we shoot it, it explodes.
Okay, there's an interesting story. I want to piggyback on that. There's a video, if we have time, I might show you. It's called JFK Inside the Target Car. And what they did within the last couple of years is they made those type of dummies with the exact measurements of Kennedy, Connolly, Jackie, and Nellie Connolly. And they put them in a car and did a reenactment. And the purpose behind it is to see where the blood splattered in the limousine in comparison to Dallas. So they made them really bright green and some were bright red. Anyway, they reenacted the assassination and then they compared blood patterns in the limousine back in '63 to the blood patterns to this test. Almost identical. Almost identical. Showing that the shot came from behind, not the front. Okay. Anyway, I'll keep these separate now that we have a weapon in here. I don't want the two together, so here we go. Anyway, I thought you enjoyed that. But that's the rifle Oswald bought for $19.95. So, what happens next? You can bet your boots. Who's going to bring Oswald back for more interrogation after this comes out? Fritz. So at 10:30 a.m. on the 23rd, Oswald is taken back to Fritz's office for more interrogation. Because Fritz, 10:30 a.m. Because Fritz now has the rifle that was used in the assassination of President Kennedy. He's tied the rifle to the man that he has in custody. So, you got to understand Fritz, he's quite the interrogator. He brings Oswald in, and to open up the conversation, he says, ask him how he slept. How'd you sleep last night, Lee? He says, never slept better. Never slept better. Fritz then asked Oswald about the package that he brought to work the day of the assassination. What was that package you brought to work everybody's talking about? It was my lunch. No, but lunch, 2-foot lunch. He said it was my lunch. That's what he told me. He says, so Fritz asked Oswald about the package he brought to work that day of the assassination, and Oswald told him it was his lunch. Fritz is very calm, and most people just go nuts. Fritz says, well, have you ever ordered a rifle under the name of A.J. Heidel? And his answer is, no. calmly answers no. Well, what do you think Fritz is going to confront him about now? Well, the ID, first of all, the ID card. He confronts him about the fact that the ID card that he found in his wallet bore the name A.J. Heidel. So you've never ordered a rifle by the name of A.J. Heidel? No. What about the alias we found in your wallet? You know, the other identification said A.J. Heidel. I don't know anything about it. They found it in his pocket.
But didn't he say it was something he picked up?
Well, he told one, yeah, this, you know, this guy could have gone on forever. But anyway, yeah. Now, while this is going on, a huge break comes. Because police are back at the Payne residence. Or excuse me, police are gone from the Payne residence. And Marina's sitting there kind of down the dumps looking at old photos. You know, that's what people do when they're down the dumps. Looking at old photos. And she comes across a photo that she had taken herself. She took pictures of her husband 2 different times, or for 2 different pictures. And she took that in the backyard of their apartment before they separated, and Lee got his own place and she stayed with Mrs. Payne. So she's going through this little scrapbook and she's reminiscing on these pictures, and she finds 2 photos that she took of her husband. You have one of the photos in the handouts I gave you. This is a photo that Mrs. Oswald took of her husband in the backyard of one of their apartments they lived in before they separated. What is he holding in that picture? He's holding the rifle, and if you look real closely, what's strapped to his belt? The pistol. There's another picture back there on the wall. And he's holding some papers, isn't he? And what they were copies of a publication called The Worker and the Militant. So Marina's looking through these pictures and she comes across these 2 pictures that she had taken, not more than 2, but she had taken pictures of her husband in the backyard of one of their apartments holding this rifle and showing the pistol that was used in the Tippit killing and holding a publication called The Worker and the Militant. So what do you think she does when she sees these in the scrapbook? Takes them out. What's she do with them? Huh? What'd she do with them? What would you do with them? What? Yes, you would. She hid them in her bedroom. Afraid that it would what? Get her husband in trouble. So she takes these, she's going through this scrapbook, she comes across these pictures, she goes, uh-oh. Because she was just in there and interrogated whether her husband owned a rifle, right? And if she could identify it, don't you think even if she didn't know much about guns, she could figure out from that photo that that was the rifle they showed her in the Dallas Police Office headquarters? So she panics, kind of, takes the photos out of the scrapbook, and hides them in her room. She then, at 1:10 p.m., goes to the city jail to visit her husband. What does she want to get? What answer does she want to get from her husband? Did you kill the president? I mean, now she's starting to put 2 and 2 together, right? So she goes to police headquarters at 1:10 p.m. to visit her husband. And she takes her mother-in-law, Marguerite, with her. Takes Lee Harvey Oswald's mother with her. So at 1:10 p.m., Marina goes to the city jail to visit her husband with her mother-in-law, Marguerite. Is Oswald happy to see him? Actually, he's very happy to see his wife, very mad to see his mother. He had a horrible relationship with his mother, which we'll get into later. But he was very happy to see Marina, but very upset that Marguerite was with her. So he's upset to see his mother, but he was happy to see Marina. Marina calmed him down. And what's the first thing Lee says to his mother and Marina? Be careful what you say, the room's bugged. He tells them the same thing. Shh, room's bugged. Be careful what you say. Now, most of the conversation that these people have together is about Lee assuring Marina that everything will be fine. He's got a lot of friends on the outside that are going to help him. That's what he tells them.
Wait,
What's that?
so was the room bugged? Is that how we know what he said?
No, I think it's just from a lot of testimony, although it might have been, I don't know.
Wait, Oswald said it was booked?
Yeah, he said, psh,
Oh.
room's booked. But it might have been. It's a good question, I don't know for sure. But he spends most of his time telling his wife everything will be okay, we got people that'll help him on the outside, that's what he tells her.
Was he schizophrenic?
He was, we didn't live long enough, I think if we'd have given this, we'll talk, I'm gonna spoil something, so. Now, what's Marina doing there? She's hoping to get a sense that her husband wasn't involved in this. Isn't that kind of what she's doing there? But after she leaves visiting with him, she realizes that, you know what? This is not the guy I remember marrying. He's acting too different. She said, you know, she's really fearful that he did it. Why? Because he was the type of guy that if he was wrongly accused or being treated poorly, what would he do? He'd be pissed. He'd be slamming his hand just like he did with Hosty. Didn't like that guy, so I mean, he's very emotional. And she's thinking, this guy's way too calm. He should be, if he was accused of doing this and he didn't do it, he'd be slamming, he'd be throwing a fit, he'd be yelling, he might be swearing, he'd be protesting, yelling injustice, denying his rights. He'd be going nuts. Instead, he was too calm, too accepting of what happened to him. So she leaves thinking what? I think he did this. I think he did this. Well, guess what? Mrs. Payne, or Mrs. Oswald doesn't realize this happened back at the Payne residence prior to this. What?
Does she know her?
But actually it was searched before she looked at those photos, and the police had already taken one of those photos from the Payne residence prior to her hiding the one she had. They had already been in there, remember, and searched the place, and took one, they had one of those photos. Fritz hadn't seen it yet, but they had a photo. So as she departs, Marina is unaware the police already have a copy of the photo she took of her husband holding the rifle. It was found during the police search of Ruth Payne's house on the 22nd, late on the 22nd. Okay, we'll finish with this. At that point, Oswald's taken to his fourth lineup. Fourth lineup. First one, Helen Markham. Second one, several eyewitnesses of the Tippit shooting. Third one, Howard Brennan. Fourth one, William Scoggins. You remember who William Scoggins was?
Wait, he was the guy who ran into the.
Or was he the taxi driver?
Was he?
He was the guy that Ted Calloway jumped into his
Oh.
taxi cab with, okay? So Ted Scoggins, or excuse me, William Scoggins was there. And they're again trying to identify who shot Tippit. Now at this point, Oswald's bitching and moaning because he's taken to a room. He's saying that, you know, you made me stand out. I don't look anything like these other three guys. I mean, he's just complaining and whining and going. And obviously, Scoggins, who's on the other side, the mirror, so to speak, can see him doing this. And they get him in the lineup, and Scoggins identifies him easily, and he takes one look at Oswald, and he says, he can bitch and moan all he wants, but that's the man I saw. So he watches him go in there complaining as they're lining him up, and he says, he can bitch as much as he wants. That's the man I saw. Now, this is a kind of a crucial thing to understand we quit on. At this point, Jesse Curry, who's what? What's Jesse Curry? He's the chief police. He wants to move Oswald from the city jail to the county jail. He wants to move him. Okay? They only put people in the city jail to kind of hold them. Once they're filed on, which he has been, right? They've charged him with the murder of Kennedy, right? Then they normally move him to the county jail. The county jail, ironically, is the Dallas County Courthouse building, the top of it, where Nellie Connolly said to President Kennedy, you can't say Dallas doesn't love you. That building is the Dallas County Courthouse, and the county jail's up on the top floors of that. So they're planning on moving from downtown Dallas, from the city jail, across right next basically to the school book depository in the county jail. And Curry wants to move him. And he wants to move him at 4 o'clock that afternoon. He wants to move him at 4 o'clock that afternoon, but Fritz doesn't want to move him yet. Why? What does he still want out of Oswald? Confession. So, Police Chief Jesse Curry wants to move Oswald from the city jail to county jail, which was normal filing procedures. Curry visits with Captain Fritz and asks if Oswald could be transferred at 4 o'clock that afternoon. Fritz says, no, I want to interrogate him some more. So they agree to move him sometime in the morning on the 24th. We'll end there. So we got one more day, rest of the day, for Fritz to do what? Interrogate him and get a confession. The next morning, what's he going to be done? Transfer. Okay?
Have they charged him with the murder of Tippett?
Yeah, Tippett was right away. They had enough on Tippett, it was right away. Okay, I don't know if we can get everybody to sign this back, and I do want to start it today. We'll start over here with Aaron, if you can try to sign that the best you can with Aaron. I'll try to kind of hold it for you too. We got to get 26 signatures on it, so keep that in mind. John Hancock, Taylor. Anybody get the historical significance of that? Okay, here we go. I worry about it because I didn't teach you U.S. history. Anywhere you go. I kind of want to get this to Buell before we talk to him so I can tell you what his philosophy is on this matter. Didn't have to sign it differently in my teeth. Not every day is sign a baseball bat.
All I have was like,
Full of muscle here, sign the bat. Mauricio Caballero.
oh, and
I never do any more though.
Never